Hello there and welcome to Lower 6 Further Maths. This is the core part of the sample assessment material. Here we're on question 3. So Tyler invested a total of £5,000 across 3 different accounts. A savings account, a property bond account and a share dealing account. Tyler invests £400 more in the property bond than in the savings account. After 1 year, savings account increased by this amount, and this amount. Form equations. Right, okay, let's go back to the start, read through the question and form some equations. So what I'll use is X is going to represent savings account. I'll represent Y with the amount of money that he put in the property bond account, and I'll use the letter Z to represent his share dealings. So each of these will have a value of the 5,000 that he invested. Well, first of all, I suppose we could make our first equation in that he invested £5,000 across all 3 accounts. So the first equation I can make here is X plus Y plus Z equals 5,000. The next point I can do is 400 more in the property bond than in the savings account. So that's Y take away X is equal to 400, because the property bond account was 400 more than the savings account. And then we have to incorporate these values here. So we're thinking about percentage increases and decreases. So if we've increased the amount in our savings account by 1.5%, that's going to be effectively 0.015 on the X. So that's how much we've increased the savings account by. The property bond account increased by 0.35, so that's 0.035Y. So that would be the decimal that effectively represents 3.5%. And it's decreased on the share dealings by 2.5%, so minus, because it's decreased, 0.025Z, and the difference there is £79. So I'm going to write £79 in there. Perfect, so these are our 3 equations then. And what we can do now is we can form an equation from a matrix that represents what we've got going on here. So the first thing to note is that the second vector is just an XYZ vector, and that's representing how much we have in our property, our savings account, property and shares. And then for each of these 3 equations we need coefficients to go in these cells here. We've got 3 by 3 matrix here that will times out to make these values here. The first one's nice and easy. I need 1 on the X, so 1X here, 1 on the Y here, and then 1 on the Z here. And then when I times this equation out, I'm going to get X plus Y plus Z, and then on the right hand side here I'm going to need 5,000. Okay, the next part, I need a negative X, so I need minus 1 to go here to make minus 1X. I need 1 on the Y to make a plus Y, and Z's not included in this equation, so I'll just have a 0 there. And this will equal 400. So when I times this out, I'm going to get 400 on the second row. And on the third row, I need all these little decimals, 0.015, 0.035, and minus 0.025. And this will equal 79. Okay, so what we have here is now a vector, so a matrix equation. We've got our matrix times by our x, y, z, and this will equal 5,479. What we want to do is we want to work out how much x, y, and z are worth. So what I want to do effectively is divide by this first matrix. Now I can't do that, but what I can do, if you remember, is times by inverses of matrices. So if I pre-multiply by the inverse of this matrix here onto both sides, I'm going to be left with the identity on the left hand side multiplied by x, y, and z, and on the right hand side I'm going to have the inverse of this equation here inverse of this matrix here times by our 5,479. Now I wouldn't expect you to find the inverse of this matrix here by hand. What I'd expect you to be able to do is recall how you do this on your calculator. So what you need to do here is you hit the menu button option 4, select a 3 by 3 matrix and enter the values into your calculator. Then do exactly the same thing for the 3 by 1 matrix that this 5,479 is. You need to click on the options button and then hit define new matrix, select matrix B, and then you go through the 3 by 1 to get this point here. You clear that, and then what you need to type in is go to option and then hit number 3, which recalls matrix A. You need the inverse of that, so you need to press the x to the minus 1 button here, and then you times that by matrix B that you typed in as 5,479. Make sure you do it in this order. It does matter the order that you've multiplied these matrices in, otherwise the maths won't work. And you've pre-multiplied, so you've got to make sure your multiplication is on the front there. Press enter on that and you get your answer. So the answer to these two matrices multiplied together is 1,800, 2,200 and 1,000. Just do a little mental check that this does follow a few of these rules here. So does it add up to 5,000? 4,000, 1,000, yeah, good. Is the property more than the savings equal 400? Yeah, it does in this case here. I can't bother to check the third one, but it does follow these two initial ones. Good, right, so we have the answer to our question then. In the savings account, we have £1,800. In the property account, we have 2,200, and in the shares account, we have the bottom value of 1,000. Okay, so that's how you do that question. Not much to write down. You've got to do a lot of it on your calculator. Make sure you're confident in how you do these sorts of questions using that calculator. One will definitely appear on your exam. Okay, 7 marks.